Yeah, yeah, huh. COTI army marching bold, we don't shiver. Green candles rise, the paper's thicker than a river. Lock 1-to-1, safe in the vault's clutch. Digits in the dark, but they shine too much. Why not us? We the chosen, the crew. No looking back, the past is old news, moved on. Can't fade, we too strong. COTI to the moon, that's the theme song. Charts climb steep, no fear in the climb. COTI army grinding, yeah, we ahead of time. Whispers in the market, they try to throw shade, but we glowing in the green in the moves we made. No mirage, this the real, the mission clear. Vaults on lock, ain't no smoke and mirrors here. Tickers ticking, got them shook, gotta sink. While we sipping profits, let the doubters blink. Why not us? We the chosen, the crew. No looking back, the past is old news, moved on. Can't fade, we too strong. COTI to the moon, that's the theme song. FOMO on the rise, yeah, they wanna ride the wave. But we been ahead, building in the cave. Crypto in our veins, the code got us wired. Loyal to the hustle, can't get tired. Why not us? We the chosen, the crew. No looking back, the past is old news, moved on. Can't fade, we too strong. COTI to the moon, that's the theme song. FOMO on the rise, yeah, they wanna ride the wave. But we been ahead, building in the cave. Crypto in our veins, the code got us wired. Loyal to the hustle, can't get tired.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 24, season 2, COTI Confidential. I'm here with Soeren. What's going on, man?
Hey everyone. Hey Tracer. How you all doing?
So, what was the big thing? I think the big thing was the manifesto, right?
Yeah, I think it was, mate. I think the manifesto was definitely a big thing. I think actually what came after was I wouldn't call it big, but well, some of it was big. But actually, I would more think of it as important as a follow-up on the manifesto. Yeah. So that's where we've focused our attention in the weekly update.
Yeah, well, let's do it, man. Here we go.
Let's rock and roll. So yeah, it was I thought it was an important week for not just for COTI, but also for the our wider ecosystem. Earlier in the week, COTI released their manifesto. It was a short, sharp video with a simple but powerful message, and that is that Privacy 2.0 is here. It's for everyone, and it's ready for mass adoption. Now, as I said, what came after actually was a bit more important, in my opinion. Our partners from Soda Labs, Dr. Avishai and his cohort, they followed it up with a very, very interesting blog, something I think everyone should go and find it and bookmark it and take it out every once in a while and read it, because it explains in quite a simple way how Garbage Circuits is going to merge TradeFi and DeFi, and that by and large was exactly the message of the manifesto. You're not going to have this explosion of TradeFi into DeFi without the privacy. Yeah, you need lots of things, but one of the things you need, and which you only have recently, was the privacy. So the timing of the two messages was, in my opinion, not a coincidence. So mass adoption will not start with people down the street, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's going to start with institutions putting the old financial system on chain. Yeah, and it's not going to be quick, but that's the way it's going to happen. And the only thing that was really standing in the way of that was concerns about protecting user and transaction data. So Garbage Circuit solves that in a way that quite simply no one else can do it. It's up to 2,000 times faster than anything else. It's 250 times lighter, and that's actually a super important point, because it means you can run privacy from your laptops, your mobiles, and your iPads, and any device you choose. You can run privacy tech off of it. Another thing which is very important for adoption is that it's the cheapest option out there. Transactions fees are near free at $0.00009 per transaction. And that's measured right now at a relatively modest transaction activity. When the transaction activity goes up, those fees will go down. Yeah, if you go look in the white paper, it's described not described clearly, but it's described quite firmly that there is a fluent fee policy on COTI v2. And last but not least, it's infinitely scalable, ready to onboard hundreds of millions of users and billions of daily transactions. No issues at all. We've seen it run 1.5 million transactions per day, and running at 3.5% network utilization. So we know it can cover quite a lot more. So, and I think if I take the overall view, the helicopter view on this, I think COTI's covered every conceivable angle from the things I've just listed here. Yeah, and on top of that, they're always present in the right places. They're talking to governments, banks, hedge funds, in all the world's financial capitals. So everything's pretty much set. They're talking to the people who actually make the decisions, not the calls on or the KOLs on Twitter or anywhere else. They're talking to the people who actually hold the purse strings, and this is important. And hot on the heels of the manifesto came another thing, which I think is a very clear signal, because the onboarding of Palmera and Safe is that's an institutional onboarding. Yeah, Safe multi-sig wallets are not just across 15 plus chains. They hold over $100 billion in assets and have 46 million accounts created using that tech. So as a safe infrastructure provider, Palmera brings a whole lot of features to help users manage their funds and transactions securely. Now, this is an interesting one. I mentioned it to you earlier in the week. So we have actually onboarded Palmera, which is part of the Safe ecosystem. And actually, as one part of my business development activities was actually to look at Safe itself. And when I did my research on it, very first thing I noticed was that Safe at either points, the start point and the end point of a transaction, they have incredibly good security with multi-sig wallets and all that good stuff. But what was missing was very much that bit in the middle that garbled circuits provide. So garbled circuits is definitely a missing piece of the puzzle as far as Safe is concerned. So I think that's adoption in real time for you. It's not going to show up in transaction counts and all that stuff overnight, but it is a very important sign to send that institutionalized capital is starting to look our way. Elsewhere, Privex is continuing the really hot launch. They've now switched on the AI trading agents, and it's proven massively successful already. Trading volumes are exploding, and users, I think even you, Trace, have set up your trading AI trading agents. So I'm waiting for you to upsize that chain around your neck. Maybe put a couple of gold chains on once your AI agents made you a ton of money.
So the user deployed agents aren't out yet. Basically, it's like in the background, like the back end agents have been running, right? So the ones that we've ours aren't deployed yet, but I'm anxiously awaiting for that to happen. It's going to be really fun and see. And like
No,
when you look, if you guys have done it, right, it's not like COTI agents like train your agent and it's like 100-character prompt. It's like there's 3 pages. Like it's way better, and I'm sure they're going to expand on it. So I got to spend a bunch of time on it, go back in, mess with it. It's I'm really, really excited for this.
yeah, and I think it's I think it Privex, we've talked about it in the last month or so, that Privex, and even Shahaf mentioned that it was going to be one of the gems of the COTI ecosystem. And I think we should just remind everyone that this is the world's first intent-based perp dex with AI trading agents. Yeah, that is lots of people who claim to be something similar, but there isn't anyone who is anything remotely similar to this. So this is absolutely brilliant, and I think Privex will grow. It'll grow arms and legs very, very quick. So other than that, a little bit to our discussion that we're going to have later today. Our ecosystem is still in its infancy. We're only 3 months in. So there's still plenty of new accounts to be onboarded and plenty of utilities to come. But the progress we've seen in these 3 months since mainnet's been nothing short of amazing, staggering, really. So we will cover a little bit of this today in our community meetup, and talk a little bit about how far have we actually come in 3 months, and what's still to happen, because there are still a few annoying teething issues that need to be worked out, obviously. So that's it. That was the update.
As always, I'm Barbara. As always, it was a great update. I love it. I'm going to send some invites out while you continue to ramble, especially to Jan, because he hasn't been here for a while, and he like rage quit a bunch of groups because he's kind of a big baby. So let's see if I can't get him on here and get him to like swear at me or throw a Big Mac or something.
Yeah, or maybe he can update us on the NFT trading place.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, I've sent you a DM, Jan. And
what about Eli? Is he there? Because he's been bull posting nonstop for the last 2 or 3. We need to figure out what's going on with that.
Well, I saw that he joined the confidential group just on the hour, so maybe he is planning to jump in. But let's look at this manifesto again one more time together, because it's fun to do things together, right? And then we'll talk about that. Okay, let's spin it up.
The world is racing to digitize value across borders, protocols, and systems. Open blockchains make this possible, but with openness comes risk. With everything is public by default, everything becomes exploitable by default. Innovation stalls, and entire sectors that serves billions of users stay on the sidelines. We've seen the Bitcoin hype cycles come and go, all the while adoption of blockchains for enterprise, government, and institutions has stalled. This is because blockchain has an infrastructure problem. Privacy wasn't built into the public blockchains, and now the cost of exposure is just too high to ignore. We know this because we have these conversations every day with enterprises and institutions and governments around the world. This is why COTI exists, to solve this problem through on-chain privacy. So what comes next? The answer is finally adoption. And this is what we want to do in COTI. We are head down building privacy infrastructure for this new era, for Privacy 2.0, a new era of blockchain infrastructure where data is protected, when logic runs privately in public, when sensitive data stays protected but usable. This is when builders, institutions, and ecosystems can finally and fully adopt blockchain. Welcome to the new era.
Okay, so I have to have my, can I call it a coming to Jesus moment on this? I freaked out when I saw that video. I freaked out when I saw that video. I didn't like it. I didn't like how Shahaf was portrayed, kind of as a hologram, if anybody knows that joke. But you know what? When I calmed down and got out of the hissy fit, temper tantrum, all that kind of stuff, I rewatched it a couple times, and that message, if you just focus on the message is powerful, right? And I believe it. And I think 3 months in, I think it was the right time to drop this. I think we have seen, a nice base layer of support. I know that if we call it adoption, people will, grab their torches and pitchforks and come after us. But I will call it a good baseline of support in the first 3 months. I think it's incredible. Let's remember, guys, nobody knew who COTI was before and after V2 launched, right? In my opinion, and a lot of our opinions. So I'm going to say it again. I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with the message of this manifesto. I am anxiously awaiting it to be followed up with some meat. But yeah, we're turning a page, and we have been for the last 18 months. And a lot of you will see it as slow, but I'm happy. Now the Treasury is going to put me in a grave. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. But other than that, like Shahaf said, and your question's answered, right? The Treasury is a product, right? When we focus on the underlying base layer, COTI V2 as an EVM privacy-centric ecosystem, we have no problems there. So we need to remember that those two things are, in fact, separate. And that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, that there's a few things to unpack here. I agree with you. I was a little bit, I think the word was confused, how I expressed it to you as well. Because I was a little bit, I was thinking a manifesto should be something a little bit different. But, after I had a second and third look, and after I saw the sort of follow-up announcements that came out, I thought, okay, we're good here. So yeah, I'm absolutely on board with it. In fact, anything video that we publish is good. Yeah, we need more video. We have enough articles and static stuff. We need more videos. So that's one thing. You mentioned adoption. I'll get back to my point that I made earlier. Once the ecosystem as it looked before the Palmyra announcement. So we go back a couple of weeks and look at what the ecosystem looked back then. We've actually onboarded 3 to 5 million users once everyone's integrated. So now they haven't integrated yet, so we can split hairs on adoption and whatnot all day long. But we're definitely on the right track. And the last but not least, your point about the Treasury. That's a pain in the ass for us community members, the people who stake, the people who run nodes. But institutions, governments, central banks, they don't give two hoots about how our treasury works. That's not what they're interested in. So you make a very good point there. They need the underlying technology, carbon circuits. They need that to work. It needs to be as fast, as light, and as cheap as what we told them it'll be. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah, all the other stuff is noise that we deal with in our own little pond in our ecosystem. Doesn't make it any less important, but it's not important for the people we onboard. Put it that way.
We're gonna have Mila in here like slapping you on the wrists if you keep calling it Palmyra, bro.
Palmyra.
It's Palmyra. Yeah. Palmyra is next. No.
I wish. Yeah. I wish, because they're really laying it on as well. I love it.
Yeah. So after that video, I did get a chance to talk to marketing, and I was like, what the hell? You're like, what? Like, why? Like, manifesto. This is what the manifesto looks like. Like, help me understand. And after talking it through, because I'm a little bit nuts, right? And so I freaked out. And after talking, it totally made sense. And it was kind of funny. They said, well, we wanted to catch people's attention. We definitely did that. It's like, yes, you absolutely did. But the comments were overwhelmingly positive, even from some people who are like always poo-pooing everything COTI does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
Princess
so
was Princess was positive. I take a lot away from that.
I take nothing away from anything that account ever says. I always thought it was a bot, man. You know, and you got to be suspicious of every negative account being having something to do with you know who. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, you know what? I guess my issue is that, you know, I've watched for the last 6 years the metamorphosis of COTI's update videos and stuff, and like they were really, really bad 6 years ago, right? Audio problems, camera problems, editing problems, like overmodulated, too quiet, like just, and it was a really, really slow. It was a really slow progress, and I was like, what, like what's the deal, like why can't we just have a good video? And then it got really good, and then the news desk, you know, green screen thing came out, people didn't like that, so they switched it up and everything. But this was like, I've just always seen Shahaf as like, he's like super classy, you know, all the videos are classy, and this was different, we'll call it. And I think that's why it was shocking for me. Might not be shocking for people who, you know, haven't been following along forever, but this was definitely different. And you know what? Everybody's screaming at COTI to make some noise, not to quote somebody directly, but, you know, to make some noise and do something different and get it. So, you know what? Kudos, man. Kudos. I'm on board. Just, you know, maybe not a floating, you know, strange color Shahaf next time, but yeah, no, the message was awesome, man. And you know, it sounds funny, but like you close your eyes and listen to that and see it how you want it, and it's pretty dope. So let's follow it up.
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I was thinking more when I thought about the word manifesto. You know, I don't know why, but my first thoughts are Unibomber. Unibomber manifesto. So like a 20-page typewriter written documents explaining how we're going to shape it. So yeah, that's why I was confused.
Well, and now it's the same thing for me, right? It was like, if you're gonna call it the manifesto, you know, it should be better than this. But you know what? It makes sense. Let's do something super dangerous here and look at the comments. This might be fun. I haven't looked at them for a while. I like that one. Right? We know what that's referencing. Hey, where's our buddy from UC Town? We haven't seen him for a while. Yep, bridge has been a problem. They're working on something new. Yeah, there we go. This is called Mark. I watched it over 20 times. Wow. That's a lot of times. I'd like to hear what that something you felt was. Ooh, look, he's got like five comments here. Yep. This is the kind of document that could age like the Bitcoin white paper. Pure clarity. Yep. You guys see COTI News' video? What'd you think about that one? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was all right. There was a couple of bits at the end that I didn't understand, and I queried them, and they've clarified them for me. So I'm good with that. And as I said, listen, more video is better.
All right.
Who is the account that you muted?
Can anybody guess? Anybody guess? Can see the comments. If you know, if you get this right, I'll send you a mint pass for NFT agents. Okay, let's see it in the comments. Somebody's got to know.
I'm guessing the comment is always the bride, never the bridesmaid, or is it the other way around?
Okay, let's see. Oh, look at that. All right, you don't get a mint pass, Jan, because you have to make them. So that's all good. Yeah, no, but you know what? They really were overwhelmingly good. You see some of the bigger releases from COTI, and it's like you get the same 3-4 people saying something just completely ridiculous, right? Privacy is cool and all, but can it pay my rent? Some of these are good, man. You know what? I'm going to give you that one. All right. Anyways, that's enough. You get it. You want to see more? You go look at them yourself. Oh, scraping the bottom of the barrel today. No. Okay, let's go. Let's go back to Crafter here for a second, because he started coming on with this stuff when we were busy with the manifesto. What's your manifesto, Jan? I'd like to hear that. You know, the one for business, not the one that you always talk about. The only update I can give you is that I just finished painting one of my rooms and doing the electricity, which is a good improvement. I don't think anybody cares. All right, Eli's coming up next, guys. Get ready.
For real,
we are still working.
Smart contract issues. It's super important to have the perfect smart contract for marketplace. And we still got some front end, back end jobs to do for the marketplace, but things go forward. Excellent news, Jan. So next week, we're waiting next week.
Yeah, maybe even Monday. That would be great. Okay, more comments from Jan really quickly. This manifesto is a first step towards good marketing. It's a start, he says. Okay, so Jan is a marketing professional and COTI should hire him. I think that's what I'm reading here in the comments. I think I know what you're referencing, but those came out, didn't they? All right, welcome to the stage, our buddy, sum of character, Eli from Montana. What's up, man? He's here somewhere. Can you guys see him?
Nah, we got a circle-y thing.
Yep, that's all right. He'll jump in when he can.
Now we got Eli with the chainsaw.
What's the bar size on that chainsaw? Like, that's a big
Not bad. That's 36.
Yeah, like that's a big one, man.
Yeah. I used to live off grid and we'd carve log furniture. That's how we made money. We'd do farmers markets and yeah, it's a good time.
It's like everything else in America, even chainsaws, you don't do them small, do you?
No. Why would we do that?
In the right hands, that'd be a very potent weapon, so you might as well do them big.
Yeah, I was probably the best shape of my life right then. I mean, just we live good. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, we're good, Eli. What about you? Enjoy. I can see you got blue skies behind you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I just took my dog for a walk. Got the remaining wildflowers popping up, and it'll be fire season before too long.
You're gonna have a bit of that every summer, are you?
Every summer, yeah. Unfortunately.
Is this spontaneous or something more sinister, or maybe a combo?
Well, our wildfires, we just have so many people that like to go camping and not take care of their fires, and then we get some lightning, but just irresponsible people generally, unfortunately. Yeah.
So here's a comment that Soren's been talking about for a long time. We've been lacking video content in our ecosystem for a long time. So yeah, that's a good comment. And
absolutely,
we'll see what this loyalty / creators / whatever we're going to call it program that Shahaf hinted at is going to entail. For some reason, the creators program didn't catch, but maybe this will be a new leaf. And yes, everybody wants to trade the COTI NFTs. So I think a lot of us are waiting for stuff for Jan, always waiting for Jan to get that stuff done. And a bull market would be nice too. Sorry, Eli, go ahead.
Well, I just say, the creator content, once you have, more euphoria in the market, it will grow organically. I mean, COTI's sitting at like number 300 market cap. People don't get excited right now. You're looking at like Bitcoin and Bitcoin maxis are stealing the show. Like, oh, it's us only from here on out, which usually means that Ethereum and the other blue chips start taking center stage, and then it filters down. Give it time, and people start talking about COTI again. It's not This is if you're in it for making some money, this is when you want to start stacking. Keep stacking, and then everybody that called you stupid will call you a genius here another 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in both cases one should just ignore those comments, because the only way we're going to get somewhere with all this is if we heads down, build, and keep grinding. Yeah, I saw an interesting one today. World Liberty, the Trump family crypto empire, they hold something like 96 or 98% Ethereum.
Yep.
Yeah. And for people to think that these boys would hold all that Ethereum, and Ethereum not moving massively from here, they don't know Trump politics. I don't know Trump politics very well, but I know that part of it.
And they just extended the tariffs again another month. We're looking at pretty much historical low volume across the board. At least out of the United States, there's nobody's here, and I'm expecting nothing but good things from here on out. I mean, this is generally when the time of year that we bottom out, around the 4th of July. In the summers, it's historically the bottom, and then it just kind of creeps up. Nobody's paying attention. Next thing you know, you're breaking weekly trends, and people start paying attention about all-time high, and they're like, geez, I can't believe I sold that. Oh.
Yeah, no, that's the way it's worked in the past, and
People don't change.
no, they don't, and I don't think it's going to be any different this time. It may be longer, it may be shorter, it may look slightly different, but the main principles of it's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, I see people complaining about, the tokenomics again this morning. It's just their accounts aren't that old. I don't think they've been around that long, honestly. And few people claim that they're financial advisors doing this stuff. Crypto cracks me up every time. Or
marketing professionals.
They are marketing that they are. They get their 47 followers and their world leading marketing. Yeah,
they'll sell you a course for $1,000 a month, though.
Man, it's cheap at twice the price. I don't. If only.
Yeah. And the fact is, and we've covered this till we're blue in the face. Yeah, COTI V2 could not. The vision of COTI V2 couldn't have happened without the tokenomics. It just couldn't.
Yeah,
Simple.
I mean, you can't. There's 8 billion people on this planet. Everybody's expecting one coin to capture all that market. I mean, there's so much money. Just in Forex trading a day, there's $5 trillion that trades hands. $5 trillion. Yeah. And if you don't think privacy is going to be part of that, they don't. You don't want to just publicly blast all your funds everywhere, especially. There's a lot of things that crypto brings to the table with decentralization and be your own bank, whatever. Most people really shouldn't be their own bank just because they're not responsible enough. But it also opens up vulnerabilities to hacks and things like that. I see people blasting their wallet addresses and their full wallet balances just to brag to folks, out in the public, and it's, you're becoming targets. And if you don't have a layer of privacy at $5 trillion a day, you're asking for problems.
Absolutely. And
that's just one market. I mean, you're talking, like a real estate, stock exchanges. I mean, this is all going to get tokenized, and we're, a good decade away from any of that becoming mainstream. So I think people need to get realistic with what's happening. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's we're in for a long haul here, but yeah, as I said earlier in the update, I think COTI are doing all the right things. The way they've lined up the product, people got no excuses for not biting.
Wow.
Yeah, and they are in all the right place, talking to all the right people. So we can't complain about that either.
It's like you said, it's not the people on Twitter that are making the difference. I mean, like, we, in the grand scheme of things, none of us matter. I hate to burst anybody's bubble. We really generally do not matter, especially like this. I mean, if it was a meme coin and the hype and all, the scam stuff, sure, okay, yeah, you can drum up some hype there, but most of that's not organic either. For actual usage and actual adoption, we are a speck. We don't matter, unfortunately.
Not when the big money start coming in. We matter. We matter in different ways, but in terms of adoption and in terms of getting the big money on board, the other things matter a lot more. Yeah.
I mean,
as an ecosystem, we got our own agenda, which is quite far removed from the agenda of institutional investors, the governments, the central banks, etc.
Yeah. I mean, let's just face it, though. The three of us are not making decisions for the Federal Reserve or the Bank of Israel or UAE or, Russia. None of these people are, care what our opinion is on this,
Exactly.
And that's really where we're going. I mean, the CBDCs are going to come one way or another. They're happening with stable coins now. I personally think that that's actually the CBDCs. They'll say, well, we're not going to have CBDCs, we're going to have stable coins, but they're the same thing. And me personally, knowing that they're coming, I'd rather have a layer of privacy associated with those.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think the sort of Palmera safe kind of announcement that we had just after the manifesto, that was a good sign, because that's a real world asset account. That's an institutional account.
Right.
We had the integration with Cefu, Binance's institutional arm. And I just saw today that I don't know what's the time frame, whether it's recent quarter or recent month, but they have doubled the number of institutional accounts on Binance, which is not Binance. That means Cefu, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of little things, and when you start putting them all together, a lot of little breadcrumbs, and when you put them all together, it paints quite a clear picture that it is happening, and it'll keep gathering pace. But like you say, it'll probably be, I don't know, 3, 5, 10 years until it's the new normal, if you like.
Right. Well, and by then, if you're here to make money, that money's been made by then. It's from a strictly trading point of crypto. That money's already been made, big money. You're not buying in.
I put longs whenever Eli gets bullish. I immediately open a 15x long. That's it.
Oh well, there you go.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, I get a little bit bearish when I start seeing everybody bullish. I mean, but nobody really cares today. I mean, there's about 7 of us left in crypto Twitter, it appears, and you see everybody's. It gets so small. You notice everybody. You're like, oh, okay. There's a handful of people.
It is really, really quiet. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you can see the daily volumes. I'm looking today.
Oh.
Well, what have we got? 6-7 hours left on the daily candle, and we're at 6 million on Binance.
Yeah, I mean Coinbase, we're at I think it was $21,000 worth.
Even on a quiet day. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was saying on Coinbase, it's $21,000 worth of volume on Coinbase. That's it. I've seen $2 million volume easy for just COTI on Coinbase.
Yeah.
So
no, and you look at any of the other, most of 99% of all tokens are the same, really, really low volume. Yep. and decreasing. So it's definitely a ghost town out there. And like you said, this is the time when the big moves normally happen, because they can happen now.
I saw that XRP passed Ethereum, doubled their volume this morning. So XRP was just, was pumping, doubled the volume, and then out of nowhere, Ethereum popped back up. So they're neck and neck as far as volume on Coinbase. So there's buys that are happening. We're close.
Yeah. And one of the ones that actually caught a bit in the last 4 or 5 days, which is interesting for us, because one of our partners is Plume. If you go and look at the chart, for Plume, they had massive announcements all the time, and the chart was an absolute horror show. It was just straight down with no end in sight. And then 3-4 days ago, it started catching a bit, and now it's up, 60-70% in the last week or something.
And when you get down to those no volumes, I mean, when you have no volume, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to get you back to even. We'll get 100% candle pretty easy. I mean, COTI, just saw the depth chart I was looking this morning on Coinbase. I mean, it's 160 grand, puts it almost back to a dime.
Yeah.
That's nothing. I mean, that can come out of anywhere.
That's your pocket money for the week, Elon.
It is. Yeah.
So I've said this over and over, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. How do you feel about the last 3 months? How things have been rolled out? You can talk partnerships, marketing, price, whatever spin you want to put on it. But Eli, like, how do you feel since the launch of V2? What are you critical of? What do you want to see other than
I have,
geo blocking be removed?
yeah, well, I do. That is my biggest gripe is the geo blocking. I think I understand why, and I'll bitch about it. But I'm also realistic. I understand. Like this, especially with this administration, things can change on a dime. We have 12 weeks before we have any kind of laws in the United States as far as crypto goes right now. Right now, we have policy, and policies change. They change fast. So you want that stuff written down. You want it written in stone. Like you can't go back on this. And I understand why you don't really want to just jump headfirst into the United States when tomorrow that could change. I mean, all that work for nothing? Oh, I don't think so. As far as 3 months in, you don't build a house starting with a roof. You got to have a foundation. You got to have those partnerships. And we're in a bear market, coming out of a bear market. You don't want to start announcing that kind of stuff, like all your big stuff today. You save that for later. And the partnerships that are being built right now, it's not, you're not talking about a meme coin. This is actual utility. This is actual government adoption. So I don't know. I think that people need to relax a little bit. Don't look at the hourly candle. I think I mentioned today. Don't look at the hourly candles if you're in the market today. You want to focus on the weekly, monthly charts. I don't see that COTI is honestly doing anything wrong. Their tokenomics, it's actually a very low supply when you're looking at a global adoption. It's everybody wants like three tokens out there so you can make all the money. That's just not the reality of it. You got to have enough meat on the bone for everybody else.
How about you, Soeren?
Absolutely. No, I tell you what I like about the first 3 months, and it goes back to the foundation that Eli just mentioned. Yeah, so I think we got a solid foundation. We're spread across all the narratives, and I know for a fact that the team is very conscious of this. So if they had a chance to onboard another 5 dexes tomorrow, they would probably say no, because they wouldn't want 5 dexes on this early. So they're very cautious about having the right balance. But we got dexes, we got stable coins, we got privacy on the dexes, certainly one of them. So I think those things are quite nice. The things that I'm a little bit concerned about is that the sort of community-facing infrastructure seems to have gotten worse, not better. And it's actually the reason why it annoys me. It's not because it gives me issues. It doesn't. I never have any issues. Yeah, because I don't perform all these operations where people have the issues. My big gripe with all of this is that the guys like Guy Masika is having to spend half his life fixing all this instead of building cool stuff. Yeah, so that's sort of my main gripe with all of that, me personally. Yeah, but of course it's not good for community sentiment when we keep having these issues. But I think all the basic building blocks are there, and as I mentioned in my update, we're at all the right places, doing all the right things. So I really, foundationally, I got nothing to say to all of this other than super well done. You built it. They built a great platform from which to move on, if you like. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows what Bridge and Treasury has been like for the last couple of years. It's been a source of tons of frustration, right? So when I finally did in the past couple weeks use the Bridge, I was like, okay, well, I'll make my Bridge transfer. I'm not going to sit here and wait for it because I'm just going to get upset. So I made my Bridge transfer. I went and did something. It came back. It was there, right? Should it be that way? No. But you feel like people are coming into the official Telegram because, I mean, come on. Some of these people do not need to. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but some people, it's like, I swear they're making multiple bridge transactions a couple a week every time and then going in to complain about it. We know we have people like this, right? So for me, when I've used the bridge lately in the last month, we'll say, every time I bridge, I come back, it's there. Nothing's ever gotten stuck. I think people just, it is what it is. Treasury, that's a whole other story. I want to move on from that because we're all sick of it. Okay. It sucks, man. It sucks. We know it. We're looking forward. Soeren had a good point, right? It's too bad that while they're trying to build a new treasury, that they have to also keep everything maintained and fix things. It's taking them away from the important stuff. I get it. But I want to go back to your questions answered. I want to talk about something that Shahab talked about. And this goes kind of with when you're talking about fees and tokenomics and everything. But when he was talking about Privex, and yes, they're super bullish on Privex. I get why. Okay. There's many reasons. And some people can look at those reasons and say, well, yeah, of course they're, but whatever, man. The product is amazing. Shahab was talking about agentic volume. Okay. And this brings me back to the things that I've said about sitting with Daniel and going like, how can the fees be so low? Soeren, in your update, you talk about 0.0000, I think it's 6 or 7 zeros and a 9, right?
No, 4
how
zeros
low
and
4 zeros and a 9. I thought it was more than that.
$.
It's, oh yeah. Okay. There we go. There's where the extra 2, okay. That's where the extra 2 zeros comes from. But regardless, it's like a fraction of a cent, right? When we talk about agentic volume, like they were planning for this. This was all like they were playing chess, 24 months ago when they first started theorizing COTI v2. When you think about how you could program some of your agents to just be like scalp trading the tiniest little, because it's a machine that does it. So if your fees are low, and you can make that many transactions. Like, it's just, I can't imagine when a bunch of agents get in on this thing, how much volume there's going to be and how cheap the transactions are. Joshua said it too, like a few months ago. Agents aren't going to have any kind of brand loyalty without being programmed. They're going to look for the cheapest place to transact. They're going to go find it and they're going to use it. So I just, the more these interviews and videos and papers come out, the more it's like starting to make sense to me. Like I said, like it's only been a little while since I really understood the tokenomics and really got on board with it. And now it's like every week I'm starting to see more things where it's like, oh, this is like another piece of the puzzle, right? This is another piece of the puzzle. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's something that I've noticed lately where it's just like, man, it's really starting to make sense. You look at what Privex was talking about in terms of agentic volume, right? That's pretty serious. And that's just like back end testing beta stuff. So what's it's going to be like when you're having full adoption on some of these dApps?
And that goes back to the laws. Right now we have AI agents. We don't have any structure for that anywhere globally. There's going to be laws that have to be put in place before this stuff gets actual integration, and you start seeing massive volume. Once you have the banks and these trading houses able to actually get in and utilize the stuff, with legal certainty, then the volume starts coming in. You don't want the stuff out in the wild before any of that happens. You really.
No.
So it's smart to ease in and build slowly for the AI agents.
Yeah, but it was very interesting because Privex they switched on the AI agents, and according to what you said earlier, Tracer, they only had 2 or 3 actual agents running. The rest was waiting to be deployed, and they generated more than $1 million in the first 24 hours.
That's
trading
crazy.
volume.
That's crazy.
And that's just not even a handful of AI agents, generating that much volume. And I was 4th in the trading Olympics until they switched on the agents. Now I'm 14th.
Man,
But
you
no,
imagine the
this is
volume
going to
once
be
all the degens start getting in. I mean, it's
no, absolutely, and this is going to drive a massive amount of transactions back
you know
and
if
forth.
you if you get something like a Binance integrating, Privex, I can't imagine the amount of volume that's going to get siphoned off into the DeFi sector through the AI agents.
Yeah, no, and this is exactly what CC was calling for. Yeah, a private intent-based perp dex. That's exactly word by word, literally what he was describing. Yeah, you can look. Actually, that's interesting, Tracer, because you see where they switched on the trading agents, where all of a sudden you got these monster candles on a daily basis. Yeah. And we are far, far bigger than their operations on base now, which is also quite interesting.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
I mean, that's more or less just a test right there.
Yeah, no, that was just, but they're still very
Absolutely.
early stages of this. They switched on a few, but they still need to make sure it all runs properly and that the privacy part of it works, obviously. So, no, it's. I think we're 3 months in. It's still a little bit bumpy. I get that, and as far as the bumpiness, as long as it affects the community only, then we can work through that and we can fix that. If it starts getting bumpy on the client side, then I'll be far more worried.
Hey, gentlemen, I got to cut it short. To take care of some family things here, but I really appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you twice as much, Eli. Go and have a great Sunday. Stay safe, mate, and we'll talk soon.
Take it easy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here, Eli. Always a pleasure. So,
Always.
just you've been playing with Privex, right? So I'm going to ask you again, like, how's it been, right? I'm not asking really P&Ls, but I'm asking, what's the experience like?
No, I think it's all right. I don't have a lot of experience to base anything on, because I told you many times I'm the worst trader out there. I'm really not that good at it. But I see it as an interesting part of sort of trying to be the voice of the community. I got to try most of these things that build on COTI. So I've tried Privex also, and I find it very smooth. It works. The interface with MetaMask is cool. The only thing I've had an issue with is the what do you call it, withdrawal of funds, which takes 12 hours. And I spoke to Privex about it. So it's basically a safety feature that they took from they inherited it from Simio, and they remove it once things stabilize on their end. And that's really the only issue I've had with it.
It's why I asked you, because I grabbed this from Fonzo from their Telegram group, right? It's a comment addressing what you were just talking about there, right? And it's a safeguard here that will be removed soon. So I think a lot of people. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes or 12 hours. I couldn't care less. It makes no difference. But it was just a curious thing, because on all other exchanges, these things are instant. Yeah. So I was wondering, but yeah, Fonso, he was great and very fast in answering it, and there was absolutely no skirting about it. He said, it's there. We'll get rid of it soon, but it is there. Yeah.
So what's the big thing for next week, man? What do you think?
What
are you looking for?
What I'm looking for, we've gotten into a sort of a rhythm with 1 or 2 onboarding announcements per week, which I kind of like. I'm still waiting to see more integrations. I think next week, maybe the week after, Guy Mesika may shoot me when I say this, but I think he's very, very close with that MetaMask snap. I hope so, because that's the next thing I want to try out. Yeah, I want to try this out in the wild. I want to see for myself how it works. So yeah, I'm looking for a couple of new client announcements, maybe a couple of integrations, still a couple of exchanges that'd be nice to get on board. And I'm looking for that MetaMask snap, whether it's next week or the week after. I'm not too fussed, but be nice to get it soon, because that's a good one to start throwing around a little bit. What about you? What are you
Awesome.
looking for, mate?
I'm looking forward to them continuing with these kind of, we'll call them shocking videos. No, you know what? Short format videos is something we've never had. I've said that for a long time. You've been talking about videos. I've been talking about short format. We don't have any kind of that I know of, really, any kind of following on any kind of, YouTube shorts, TikToks. God, I hate TikTok, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, I kind of think that's next. And I'm just interested to see where that, if we're really turning a page with marketing and following, this is an assumption, just following that manifesto video. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think, since Shahaf started his Your Questions Answered blog, then the video interview, and now this, I think everything's shifting. Everything's shifting. So it's going to be interesting. They've recognized that.
I totally agree with you. And I think, what I'd like to see, if you were specific about videos. Yeah. So this is to everyone who does the videos or thinking about doing videos. I want to see videos on individual use cases. Yeah. So how do we use Gardel circuits to train an AI or an LLM? How do we use it? How do we use Gardel circuits in healthcare? Yeah. How do we use Gardel circuits in bridging TradeFi to DeFi? And so forth, because there's literally product tracking, all sorts of things. So we got so many use cases. Literally everything's a use case for Gardel circuits, isn't it? Everything is a use case. So I want to see these short videos on individual use cases. Okay, we set the mission. That's set, clear, everyone gets it. Now, let's see some of the use cases. How do we actually do this? Yeah, let people have a little bit more of an understanding for how exciting this really is. So that's what I would be looking for in the video sphere.
You're a use case guy, and I'm like, hey, we're the cheapest thing around. Who cares about privacy? Who cares about garbled circuits? Come bring some games and NFT to COTI, because it's crazy, crazy cheap, right? So, while you guys are all talking about that, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I just really don't care what kind of implementation it is. I just want, some marketing where it's yeah, we have all this, but you can come here anyways because we're the cheapest shop around.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, I'm hoping, I can't, like I said to Shahaf, I get that we want garbled circuits and privacy to be adopted, but also who cares? Just come hang out here. It's super cheap, super fast. And even, when you're going from MEXC to your MetaMask, right, with a withdrawal, it's 0.001 or something it's crazy cheap from MEXC. Yeah. And it's instantaneous, even with the multiple confirmations that they need to let your withdrawal go. It's fast.
No, and I wouldn't mind having more gaming activity, for instance. I'd love to be the go-to ecosystem for gamers to build their products on. I think that's not realistic in the short term, because I think others have solidly taken on that, places like Solana, for instance. So I don't think it's realistic in the short term. But as you say, don't fake those low fees, because really no one else does it as cheaply as we do. None that I've seen. Yeah, none that I've seen anyways. And I'd like that to be a bit of a trend for Web3, that things become near free. That's not a bad thing.
All right. You got anything else to close this one out?
No, I think we pretty much covered what we needed to cover. Now we wait for Crafter's NFT marketplace, and we wait for Guy Masika to put out his MetaMask snap. So, boys, that's your task for next week. just kidding, of course.
Soeren pulls the strings, man. He's the puppet master, right? No, you know what? I wanna thank Eli for being here, even, you know, coming into chatting for a bit. It's always nice to hear from him. But you guys, like, you sit there and you listen. Some of you are commenting, why don't you just come talk to us? You do not have to turn your camera on. But
Nope.
we would like to see you in here, hear your voice. That's always fun, right? That was one of my favorite things when we started podcasting, you know, 3 years ago. It's always so fun to meet people, hear their voices. And, you know, now that we're seeing people's faces, it's even more exciting. But 3 months in, I'm happy. Soren's happy. Why aren't you happy? No, I'm just kidding, guys. But the manifesto was shocking, but the message is super powerful, and I'm looking forward to seeing it followed up. But that's it from us this week, from coast to coast and around the world. This is COTI Confidential. Thank you, Soeren, for your excellent weekly updates, and we'll see you again next week. Stay COTI.
COTI, everyone.
Are flashing, the night ignites. Carbon flows through the endless bites. Permissionless dreams where orders align. Resistant to chaos, we're crossing the line. We rise, we build on curves so bold. The chains unlock, the future unfolds. Trading the rhythm asymmetric and free. Carbon DeFi, it's our destiny. Bonding curves that bend and twist. Infinite paths that we can list. On-chain orders, no limits, no fear. A decentralized pulse drawing us near. We rise, we build on curves so bold. The chains unlock, the future unfolds. Trading the rhythm asymmetric and free. Carbon DeFi, it's our destiny. No MEV can break our stride. This protocol's our neon guide. From chaos we carve a seamless stream. Carbon DeFi fuels the dream. We rise, we build on curves so bold. The chains are